Okay, the Honorable Member for Kilifi South, Honorable Ken Chonga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I stand to express the feelings and the wishes of many Kenyans as far as this speech is concerned. And Madam Speaker, let me take a cue from Honorable Zamzam when she said that when we debate some of these speeches, we need to understand that we are here for the interest of the Kenyans. And honestly, the way you will present our debates will impress on Kenyans on what they feel about it. When we stand in front of this chamber and we debate out of our thorax and mouth the way Honorable Mohamed Ali was doing, honestly, it creates no value. We come here to debate issues. We are not here at war. Madam Speaker, let me say that the speech of the President, to many, it was a very, very big disappointment. It was a disappointment because let us first of all take cue of when, during the time when we were campaigning, the promises that the Mwananchi was promised by this government. It was the expectation of every mamamboga, every boda, every hustler that life was going to be better than the way it is today. And if there's anything that Mwananchi expected, that is what he wanted to read and understand from the speech of the President. Madam Speaker, let me tell you where the rain started beating us. The rain started beating us by passing out a punitive finance bill in this parliament. We talked about it, we discussed it, we could see the weaknesses of some of the elements that were in that bill, but there was nobody to hear because the numbers were less. The finance bill is the biggest cause of the cost of living today. Madam Speaker, the other day, on the 8th of November, members of parliament from the government side were at State House. And they expressed openly that they have become less popular because of the cost of living. This is something is in parliament domain. And I think the president, what he said was, you do not need to be popular. Indeed, if they feel they're unpopular and they feeling what the Mwananchi is feeling on the ground. Madam Speaker, I was keenly listening to the leader of majority here and his deputy, and the kind of lies that they were making to Kenyans. One of the causes why the cost of living is not going to go up any soon is the cost of fuel in this country. Madam Speaker, you and me know very well that Kenya went into an arrangement of government to government with the government of Saudi Arabia. Look at the players in this arrangement, first of all. If there is nothing that I can call a scam, this is the biggest scam, Madam Speaker. They are telling us that the cost of fuel is going up because of the war in Ukraine and the Hamas. How come the cost of fuel is going down in Tanzania, in Rwanda, in Uganda? What explanation can the president make out of that? It is in public domain that the companies who were given the tender to be bringing fuel tied their hands in such a manner that when the cost of fuel is going down, they cannot negotiate these terms. And you know very well, for as long as the cost of fuel will remain high, everything in Kenya will remain high. Madam Speaker.
What's your point of order, Honorable KJ?
Madam Speaker, as emotive and as misinformed as the Honorable Chonga might be, is it in order for him to say that we are speaking lies here or the President is speaking lies? To the best of my knowledge, Madam Speaker, this is very unparliamentary language that goes against even our standing orders, Madam Speaker. So I think it is in order that the Honorable Member withdraws that statement on the issue of lies. It is unparliamentary language. He needs to withdraw and apologize, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Chonga, if you make a allegation.
Madam Speaker, if you heard me very well, there is nothing that I called a lie. Maybe I should use a different language for KJ to understand what I'm talking about.
What did you say exactly?
What I'm saying, Madam Speaker, is as the government or as the leader of majority has just as put it here, that the cost of fuel in Kenya is going up just because there is war between Israel and Hamas. Why couldn't he go a step further and explain to the parliament why the cost of fuel in Tanzania, Rwanda, Uganda is going down? Simple. And if you did not understand it, for the
Honorable Chonga, it is not your place to decide what a member says. You say your view and let the member say their view.
Thank you. I stand guided, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I know my time is up, but I just want to make this submission. And if you'll allow me, because KJ has taken almost 1 minute of mine, I want us to come to the realization that the mwananchi is actually suffering. As much as we are fixing the agriculture sector and many other sectors, we need to know how the cost of living can come down. And if we play around with this matter, I refer back to what Pastor Mackenzie said, Kitawaramba. This government is in place because of the people who put this government in place where it is. It is the same people who are complaining about how life has become so unbearable.
Conclude, Honorable Member. I'll give you an extra minute.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
So conclude.
I'm concluding. Madam Speaker, with that realization that we are where we are because of the promises that we gave to the Mwananchi, be you on the opposition or on the government side, the feeling of the people on the ground is the same. Langu mimi Kiswahili nataka kusema, tusingoje kiwarambe. If we insist that everything is correct and yet everything is going wrong, then kuramba tutarambwa. Asante, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Narok West, Honorable Gabriel Tongoy. What is your point of order, Leader of Majority?
Honorable Speaker, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I came running from the office. So if I pant, Honorable Speaker, it's because I came running. You know, I'm a stickler to the rules and procedures of the House. And I was listening as Honorable Chonga made his contribution and challenged on a point of order by the Honorable KJ. He asserted that he had not used the term lies. Honorable Speaker, we must be a house that adheres to our own rules and procedures, because the Honorable Chonga asserted that the kind of lies being said to us by the Leader of Majority and his deputy. And Honorable Speaker, there is something called statement of fact. Honorable Chonga has been in this house long enough to know our rules. Therefore, he cannot, on the basis of a point of order raised by Honorable KJ, assert that he did not use the term lies. He actually stated that the kind of lies being told to us, and you know, we are not speaking to Ken Chonga, we are speaking to the country, and we are not telling lies. That language is unparliamentary. We must not allow the Honorable Ken Chonga to get away with it, because we are degrading the dignity of this house by allowing members to utter careless statements without substantiating, without giving facts. Give us a statement of fact. What is it that the Leader of Majority said or his deputy said that was untrue? Honorable members do not tell lies. The Honorable Member for Kilifi North cannot be telling lies.
You had your
He's an honorable member of parliament.
Chonga, let him finish prosecuting.
Honorable Speaker, I want to ask Honorable Speaker if the Honorable Ken Chonga will not apologize and withdraw that term, Honorable Speaker. I want to move, Honorable Speaker, on standing order number 107, 108, that I ask you, if the Honorable Ken Chonga does not apologize and withdraw, that you find him to be grossly disorderly, and I shall be moving to name him Honorable Speaker, because we must restore the dignity of this House, Honorable Speaker. As I contributed, I asked all of us to be patriotic enough and to be leaders. There are things you can say in funerals, there are things you can say in rallies, but you cannot say in such an honorable House, Honorable Speaker. And I know it is exciting for those who are who are politicians and not leaders to want to say things that will excite the masses, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, if you can also protect me from the member for Busia, and I keep teaching our Honorable Speaker, allow me to keep guiding the Honorable member for Busia. When you find what I'm saying is unpalatable, you went to school to be able to stand in your position, articulate your issues, don't shout from your seat. You can shout from markets in Busia, but not in this House. Honorable Speaker, this House we articulate, we debate. It is a debating chamber, not a shouting chamber. I know it's common to shout in some places in Busia, but not in this House. Honorable Speaker, I would beg that you do require Honorable Chonga to withdraw and apologize, failure to which, Honorable Speaker, we shall be moving to name him.
Honorable Chonga, I have just been able to substantiate from the confirm from the clerk that you did in fact say that the kind of lies by the leader of majority and the deputy, and went on to allege I've checked that with them. So I'll just bring to your attention Standing Order number 91, responsibility for statement of fact. The member shall be responsible for the accuracy of any facts which they are alleged to be true and may be required to substantiate. Again, when you are informed that you had made those remarks, you said that it was not in fact true. And now it's been confirmed by the Hansard that it was. And then, and if you do not convince me, then I will move to Standing Order number 107 and finding you liable for disorderly conduct. I'll give you a minute to respond to that.
Madam Speaker, I regret to say that I think I was not understood well. The statement that was made by the leader of majority and his deputy is that by virtue of the war in Israel and the Hamas, the prices
Chonga, I was giving you an opportunity either to apologize, withdraw the remarks, then you can proceed. But you're making it worse by restating again. Are you disputing what is on the Hansard? Yes or no, Honorable Chonga?
I cannot dispute what is on the Hansard, okay, but I'll stand by my word.
Chonga, then we will let you sit down. You can leave the House and confirm and then come back.
Okay, Madam Speaker.
And then we can decide your fate in another 10 minutes when you have confirmed. Proceed. No, you are disorderly. Honorable Chonga, I have not given you the mic. Hold on. Honorable Chonga, would you like, Honorable Chonga, Honorable Chonga. Honorable Chonga, you did not have the mic and you have proceeded to speak. Then you will just be held that you keep away from the House for the next 2 sittings. Let us proceed. The Honorable
I think it was
member for Nakuru. It was the Honorable member for Narok West. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity.
He has not begun, then you can make your point of order. Let him make.
To contribute to the President's speech. Madam Speaker, I was in this House when the President was addressing to the nation, and in fact seated where I'm seated today. And I had the opportunity of not just be listening to him, but even looking and reading his body language. And I was so convinced that the President really was aspiring hope to Kenyans. And the President really gave a history and a journey that Kenya has walked since he took over in less than a year, in almost a year ago. Madam Speaker, he managed to address several issues so important to Kenyans, ranging from matters economy and the trajectory of Kenyan's economy, of course, my issues of food security, matters to do with the security, the housing, UHC, and many others. And I want to mention a few, and of course starting on matters national security. And the president started by outlining what he committed to Kenyans, and that giving the national police the financial autonomy to enable them to execute their mandate in serving Kenyans and ensuring that Kenya is safe. And the president lived true to his promise to Kenyans that in presidential executive number 1, the president gave the police the financial autonomy, and I can confirm that as the chair of that committee, Madam Speaker. It is true that Kenya, we have been having security challenges ranging from cattle rustling, the terrorism, especially the issue of boundary in North Rift and Northeastern and actually some part of the country. And our very disciplined and committed and very competent security forces has continuously been executing their mandate to ensure that Kenya is safe. And it's just good to mention, Madam Speaker, that in the endeavor to make sure that our police officers and our security forces are well equipped to execute their mandate, the modernization program that the president has been promising to Kenyans is on course to ensure that our security forces are well equipped to address the security challenges. We can all confirm, Madam Speaker, that the issue of cattle rustling and boundary in North Rift has really significantly reduced. And even members in this house from that region can confirm the same. Of course, we have still a few challenges. They are not there, but we are really up to the task. You also mentioned about the issue of NYS, that we are going to double the intake and ensure that the 80% of the NYS are going to be taken during the future recruitment into our security forces, being the police or the KDF. Madam Speaker, on the issue of international obligation, we are on the right track as a country. It is true, we are proud to be Kenyans. Kenya has been known and they have really cemented their position in the global arena, especially in matters peace. We are currently participating in several countries, helping those countries stabilizing the peace. And even it is in this that I don't want to preempt, but we know, of course, the issue of anticipated deployment of our forces to Haiti to help that country to maintain their peace. Madam Speaker, on the issue of food security, the president was able to really put it in clear terms what the Kenya Kwanza has managed to do, starting from subsidy on fertilizers, which has enabled the produce, the food, which has really enabled, Madam Speaker, the harvest to double in less than a year. He has talked about issues to do with the provision, reducing the post-harvest by provision of the dryers. And I'm proud they talked about the first consignment is just it will be in the country in a short, maybe in a week or two. Madam Speaker, on the issues of UHC, we know that this House passed a bill to include the issue of Health Facility Improvement Fund, which will be able to ring-fence the funds that generally generated by health facilities to enable them make sure that the funds are used to improve the facilities and, of course, continue to make sure that our health facilities give the services, needed much services to Kenyans. And it is going to be a game changer, Madam Speaker. We know in communities where we come from, what really has continuously affected communities, at times even causing them to lose, even sell their property to include land, is the very high bills from the hospitals because of lack of cover, insurance cover. This is going to be a thing of the past once this program is rolled. And it is a big achievement, and it is a commitment and a promise that the president has really lived up to. Madam Speaker, on the issue of housing, and of course here seated right on my right hand is the chair, we have really made a progress, a very big progress on the same. There are a lot of housing units coming all over the country, and I'm sure it is in a due course, Kenyans are going to live in dignified manner. Madam Speaker, the other issue that I want really to talk about is the issue of the economy, and more importantly, the issue of the Eurobond, a debt that has continuously been a concern to Kenyans. It's true, as been reported by majority and members who have spoken ahead of us, we were in a hole. When the Kenya Kwanza government took over, we know the kind of burden, the kind of debts that are really on our shoulders, and we're so proud because the president had committed and promised the country that we are going to live to the obligation and we are going to be able to be in a position to clear the debt, the 300 billion that is going to be due in due course. And it's something that, of course, it has been a concern to the country. And of course, we know the challenges that are there, including, of course, the issue of the fluctuation of the shilling against the dollar, the major currencies. We know, of course, the issue members have been talking about, the cost of living, the issue of the cost of petroleum product. But, Madam Speaker, it's good to note, and members should be very honest, it's an issue that is beyond Kenya as a country. It's a global challenge, it's a global problem. But the president is doing his best, the Kenya Kwanza government is doing their best to cushion Kenyans. Subsidy is never, Madam Speaker, a solution to it. And I think the president made it very clear. The right thing to do is to do subsidy to the production, not consumption. And that is exactly what they're doing. Where the government to government, Madam Speaker, is a mechanism and a means of trying to lower the cost of petroleum product. And if the president did not take the intervention, I'm sure we could be talking of a different story now. Madam Speaker, of importance, also the president talked about our continuous role to honor our international obligation as a country, and he went further to illustrate the several international security missions that Kenya forces are undertaking currently and even in the past. And it's something we are proud as Kenyans to, Madam Speaker, to mention that as a country, we had continuously making Kenya proud. So, Madam Speaker, to me, I think the president was able really to, not really mincing his own word, he shared a picture of a promising future. He managed to share a picture of a right trajectory, a country which is on the right path to prosperity. The challenges are going to be there, but we will surmount, Madam Speaker. We have the right captain steering the ship, and we are going in the right direction, Madam Speaker. So I want to say that the president managed really to talk on matters that affected Kenya, on the issue, of course, of the Asla Fund. He really mentioned, we were so surprised that he had the connection to even the Asla in the village. There down, the tuk-tuk rider, who talked in their own words on how the Asla Fund had managed to transform their lives. So, Madam Speaker, we have a president, we have a captain, and we are proud to be Kenyan. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. And before I call the next, the Honorable Esther Passaris, member for Nairobi County, someone just asked, what did Honorable Ken Chonga do? For the avoidance of doubt, I asked him to leave under Standing Order 107A, which states that a member commits an act of gross disorderly conduct if the member defies a ruling or direction of the Speaker, declines to explain or retract use of unparliamentary words, and declines to offer apology despite being ordered to do so. And you saw that I severally requested Honorable Chonga to do so, and then demonstrates or makes disruptive utterances against, despite being asked not to do so. And you saw that even without the mic, he continued. So it's on that basis, because the standing order is quite clear, that the Speaker may call upon the member whose conduct is grossly disorderly to withdraw immediately from the presence of the Assembly for a minimum of 5 days and a maximum of 28 days. So he has to keep away from the presence of Parliament for 2 days. 5 days. Just wait. Just trying to quote that. I said 2 days. Just wait. Minimum of 5 days. Yes. Actually, it's a minimum of 5 days. So unfortunately, as a minimum of 5 days. Let us proceed. The Honourable Member for Nairobi County. Member has not even spoken, Honourable Passaris. What is the point of order about? Because no one has spoken yet. Proceed, Honourable Passaris. No one has spoken yet. You can't have a point of order over nothing. Proceed.
Thank you,
Honourable Kibagendi.
Sorry.
I was referring to a decision I'd already made, so it's not a new matter. Proceed, Honourable Passaris.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I'm standing here. Sorry for the distraction. Can you please stop shouting point of order? I want to contribute. Yeah, but I haven't even spoken. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the State of the Nation address by His Excellency President. Madam Speaker, I need some protection here because I keep speaking and he keeps saying point of order, so I really don't know what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so I want to contribute to the motion.
Honourable Passaris, ignore him and address
Madam Speaker, I suffer from OCD, and the problem is he's right next to me, so he's really distracting me. Please, can you wait until I finish and then...
Don't address him, address the chair.
Through the chair. Okay, Madam Speaker.
You're losing your time.
Madam Speaker, I take this opportunity to speak to the State of the Nation address by His Excellency President William Ruto. And I have to say that the first thing that caught my attention is the respect that the President gave to the august House by calling us distinguished members, democratically elected. And also, I have to take note of the fact that every time we have a function where the President is, he gives utmost respect to elected members, which I never saw in my last tenure in Parliament. So I have to commend him for that. That puts us in a relationship where we can actually respect each other and work together. The President talked many times, mentioned the word national values in his speech. And I think we need to really have the national values of our country defined, because that is something that once we understand what our national values are, then as citizens and leaders, we should be able to move forward. And our national values are enshrined in our Constitution, and they are also enshrined in our national anthem. But I think we have forgotten our national values, and the reason why I say that is because sometimes when I take a drive on the highway and I see the street lights that have been put by the various bodies that put street lights on our roads, and I see that the street lights with solar have all been stolen on the highway, I feel that somewhere along the line we have no respect for the things that the investments that we make to get this country to become progressive. So I feel that we need to do a lot of work in defining our national values to the people. He talked about dignity and dreams, restoring the dignity of our citizens and the ability to dream. He talked about the challenges, and he did not shy away from telling us that we do as a nation have a lot of challenges, and we were in a deep hole and we need to get out of those challenges. And as a result of us working together, we'll be able to share the prosperity that was envisioned by our forefathers and the prosperity that he hopes to achieve for the nation of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, Madam Speaker, this week we have seen the return of David Cameron to as UK Foreign Secretary. He was a former Prime Minister, and he has actually been put into the government again. And when he was speaking in an interview today on CNN, he actually said that as a public servant, he is looking forward to coming back at such a time as this to be able to help steer the country and the world into the right direction. I feel sometimes as an opposition member that we should actually look as members of the opposition on how we can help and aid the government to be able to deliver to the people. We are all citizens of this country, and that we know that the country is in a place that really begs for attention in the positive way. So I really, as a member of the opposition, I really stand here and I say that the president is trying. He is working hard. He is traveling and trying to create bilateral relationships with other countries so that together we can be able to steer the.
Thank you. Your time is up. Member for Nairobi. Member for Molo.
Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I am not the Chair of Finance Bill and the Chair of the Committee of Finance and National Planning. Honorable Speaker, a lot of conversation here has been around subsidy. And I'll try to take the first 2 minutes to really explain why subsidies are not a solution to reduction of price. If you look at a demand curve, Honorable Speaker, a demand curve slide, if you have prices on the vertical on the left and quantity here on the right. A demand curve slides slopes from left to the right, meaning the higher the price, the lower the quantities people will demand of that particular product. Of course, unless that product is probably a luxury good, for example, but all factors constant. A supply curve slants from the right to the left, which means that the higher the price, the higher the quantities, the quantity producers would be willing to take to the market because they want to maximize on that high price, Honorable Speaker. So what a subsidy is supposed to do is move that supply curve to the right by the price that has been subsidized. So the consequence of that, Honorable Speaker, should be to reduce the price of that particular good or service. But what does it actually do? Because that subsidy goes to the producer, the producer has the advantage of taking advantage of that price and maximize his profits. And maybe to bring it into better perspective, we've seen the great success of subsidizing fertilizer. But you'll find that the reduction, the percentage decrease in the cost of fertilizer has not led to a proportionate decrease in the price of maize. Because farmers, now, although they were saved money in their production, they are holding on to their maize because they want better prices. So even though their production cost was lower because of the reduced cost of fertilizer. So the same thing was happening when you were subsidizing maize meal through the millers or fuel through the oil marketers. They saw a window of maximize their profits. And so essentially we're using taxpayers' money to go into the pockets of a few people who are the oil marketers and the maize millers, and consequently the price is not reduced. The former Cabinet Secretary Munya told us the price of maize meal will go down to 80 shillings. It never happened. The cost of fuel did not go down despite us sinking billions of shillings to that, which was never paid, by the way, Honorable Speaker, which has been paid by this regime and this particular budget, Honorable Speaker. So this consequently shows that subsidizing, especially subsidizing consumption, cannot be a way of reduction in prices. It has been proved by very many economic theories. It is practical. Even now, farmers are not willing to sell their maize at a lower cost.
even though they were subsidized their fertilizer by more than 160%, Honorable Speaker. But the advantage of this program, it going to farmers, it means that this money is going to farmers' pockets. Those people at the bottom of the pyramid, what we call the bottom-up economic transformation. And therefore, the increase of circulation of money to those farmers by increasing their disposable income, because their cost of production is lower than, for example, the previous year it should be, then you'll find they're spending more, and that will even see the velocity of money increasing in the market, Honorable Speaker. Having said with that Madam Speaker, what are some of the highlights, as the President said? Education of teachers, recruitment of teachers, clarity in JSS, reduction, as I said, of fertilizer, healthcare, moving from curative, preventive ways of fertilizer, the digital highways, the ICT hubs, because all these, Honorable Speaker, are geared towards enhancing our human capital. Because the biggest resource we've been able to prove as a country we have is not necessarily coffee for export or tea for export. It is human capital.